Well, good afternoon, everyone. Well, there's a little noise outside. It's lunchtime almost. It's a pleasure to be here today with three participants with a huge experience on their respective sectors. I will introduce them briefly. Thank you for joining us. To my left, Vicente Milanés. He's the Innovation Manager of Renault, PhD in Electronics from the University of Alcalá in Madrid, high degree research from l'Université de Technologie de Compiègne, Advanced Management Program from Instituto de Empresa Madrid, 18 years of experience in cooperative connected automated mobility in Spain, USA, and France. He joined the research department of Renault France in 2016, and since 2021, he's head of innovation at Renault Spain. So welcome, Vicente, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Maria.
Then Andrés Pascual. Hello.
Hello.
He's innovation manager at INEA. He's an agricultural engineer specialized in agro-food industries from the Polytechnic University of Valencia, Spain. He has a 25-year career at INEA, an innovation center specialized in the agro-food sector with over 700 associated companies and 30 years of experience. Andrés' expertise is in agro-food and environmental R&D, in particular on sustainability, circular economy, renewable energies, and in projects on biogas, ozone, microalgae, and more, both nationally and in European programs like LIFE and Horizon Europe. Andrés and the INEA team have promoted Accelerate, one of the key tractor projects in Spain within the agro-food PERTE. I forgot to say that Renault is also participating in the electric and connected vehicle PERTE. We will explain later on what this is. And third, José Francisco Fernández Aparicio. José, he is Secretary General of PIMAR. He graduated in law by the Complutense University of Madrid, master degree in corporate law by the Alcalá University, and he has worked 8 years in the corporate department of a very well-known law firm, Cuatro Casas, in Madrid, and then he joined the legal department of PIMAR in 2013. PIMAR is a company set up by the Spanish shipyards to protect their interests of the private shipbuilding sector in Spain and in Europe. José Francisco is now Secretary of the Board of Directors of PIMAR since 2019 and Secretary General of the company since 2023. So you're welcome to this panel. I will introduce myself as well. I'm Maria Muñoz. I'm General Director for Industry and SMEs in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Tourism of Spain. So this roundtable is around PERTEs, what we call PERTEs. These are strategic projects for recovery and economic transformation. This is a concept that was developed with the recovery funds. And I will make a brief introduction to share with you our experience in the definition of PERTEs, why, the rationale behind them, so that you can understand the discussion afterwards. So these are a new instrument of public-private collaboration in which the different public administrations collaborate together with enterprises, both large and SMEs, large companies and SMEs, and also knowledge providers such as innovation centers or universities. The concept is similar to IPCIs from the European Commission, so big projects of high relevance for in this case, the Spanish economy. And they follow the ecosystem approach that was developed by the Commission. You know that around 2021, the Commission defined 14 ecosystems that were relevant for the future of the industry in general in Europe. So we adopted that approach and defined the PERTEs. PERTEs are defined, as said before, in key areas for the Spanish and the European economy. And up to now, we have approved 12 PERTEs in Spain, funded with the recovery funds and also with national budget, in areas that are key for our economy, for example, the electric and connected vehicle, renewable energies, hydrogen, circular economy, naval industry. So we have here three representatives of, or three participants in this PERTE, which are electric and connected vehicle, the agro-food PERTE, and the naval PERTE. How PERTEs were defined? Well, the first thing we did is to carry out an open call, an expression of interest, so that we could identify potential ecosystems or large projects that could be financed with the recovery funds. And the next step was to define their objectives, both for the projects themselves, but also in terms of environment, climate change, digital goals, and energy efficiency, and also their impact or their estimated impact on growth and jobs, and also their contribution to social and territorial cohesion, for example. They also had to set milestones and targets and the investment needed. The third step in the definition of PERTE was to define the interministerial coordination and the governance system to ensure a smooth implementation of PERTEs, as they are big projects that normally involve different policies or competences across the Spanish administration. So we needed to involve different ministries, not only the Ministry of Industry, but, for example, the Ministry of Agriculture in the case of the agro-food PERTE, or the Ministry of Science and Innovation, or the Ministry of Ecological Transition. So there has been a lot of collaboration across different ministries to set up these PERTEs. And the fourth step was the approval by the Council of Ministers, because PERTEs really represent a strategic framework or a roadmap, let's say, for industrial and economic policy action. So the approval by the Council of Ministers need or is based in two main criteria. The first one is their contribution to economic growth and jobs. They have to be relevant projects, and they have to prove their contribution to growth and jobs, and how they will address relevant market failures or social challenges. And second, the second criteria is that they have to be relevant in quantitative or qualitative terms, and normally they involve a high risk, either financial or technological risk, so that the funding coming from the European funds will serve to reduce the risk and to promote ambitious research, development, and innovation activities, for example. So once the Council of Ministers approves this instrument, each PERTE, then we start implementing the actions there included, and normally they can be either a single project or a group of projects within a common framework, a common work plan, objectives, etc. And they, in practice, are implemented through competitive calls that are launched. We cannot do it in a different way. We have the state aid framework that if you participate in European or national funds, it's well, the rules that we have to fulfill. So the calls are launched under the General Block Exemption Regulation or the TCTF, the Temporary Crisis and Transition Framework, either for individual projects that can send us their proposals, their projects, or under consortia that are, well, it's a more complex structure, but the idea was to cover the different activities and elements of the value chain of a specific sector, with this vision of transforming the whole sector of, well, the whole sector that has been identified beforehand. So in some PERTEs as well, another element is that we define essential blocks in which the projects, or that the projects have to tackle, and also complementary blocks that are also required for these projects, for example, to also address skills issues or strategic planning or different soft elements that can also contribute to the success of the projects. So to conclude, this instrument has been developed by Spain in line with the IPCIs from the Commission. We have planned a public investment of around 35 billion euros for the period 2021 to 2026 and even beyond. And the Ministry of Industry, to which I represent here, is involved in 6 of the 12 PERTEs, which are electric and connected vehicle, agro-food sector, and naval PERTE, but also we are participating in the microelectronics PERTE, the health PERTE, and one very relevant as well, which is aimed at decarbonizing the industrial sector. So, having said this, thank you again for joining us, and well, we can start the discussion. I think there's a possibility to send some questions for those who are also in streaming through the APP or through the QR code. And we will start, for instance, with Vicente. Thank you again. You are an expert in the automotive sector, and also you are working hard to develop the electric vehicle and very much involved in the new mobility. So could you share with us the importance of the electric and connected vehicle ecosystem, and how do you see this will, well, be in the very next future?
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Maria, for the nice introduction, and also to clearly explain which are the PERTEs, because it's something that you have very well implemented in Spain, and it's something that we are now moving forward to develop. So let me first give an introduction of what Renault represents in Spain, right? So we are more than 10,000 employees here in Spain. We have 2 production vehicle plants, 2 gearbox plants, and 1 powertrain plant. So we have a huge implantation in the country. We represent more than 1.5% of the gross domestic product today, and we are clearly now focused on the hybridization vehicles of Renault. Okay, so what is the focus today of our development is hybrid vehicles. It's what we are doing today, both in our plants in Valladolid and Valencia, and now we are moving toward more electrified vehicles. That is the reasoning behind this PERTE. Well, having said that as an introduction, The situation of the connected and electric vehicle PERTE was a little bit special because we were the first PERTE the minister
Yes,
opened, which is great for us because that represents the importance of the sector for the government, but it was also a challenge, right? Because we were the first one to respond to this kind of calls, which was somehow different to former calls. So we need to adapt. But it was very well designed, let's say, in that way, because it was able to include the whole value chain of the ecosystem of the automotive sector. So we were able to cover from the electric vehicle production, connectivity, up to the interiors of the vehicles, so all the different parts as a mandatory blocks. We have some complementary blocks related with digitalization, connectivity, and other key sectors, and we also include one important part in the transformation right now in the industry is all the training and skilling up. So automotive sector probably is going to change more in the coming 10 years than in the last century, and this is key for this revolution that we are experiencing right now in the sector. Having said that, for the PERTE, we do believe that it's a key instrument to create that ecosystem in Spain. That change that we are having right now, and we will have in the coming years, it's key that we create new companies with the capabilities to come with us and create the new vehicles of the future here in Spain. And that's what we try to create through the PERTE. The complexity, let's say, in creating the whole structure, just for giving you some numbers, we are more than 45 companies and more than 24 projects, okay? Just for creating that complete structure, okay? And also to include all the requirements from the minister. So it's clear that this transformation is key for the sector, and it's also clear that we need to involve all the ecosystem on it.
Thank you very much. It's true that this PERTE was very relevant for the ministry. As Vicente has just said, our intention was really to be able to develop in Spain an electric vehicle and covering the whole value chain from batteries to the last components, engines, etc., needed to manufacture a vehicle 100% in Spain. So it's been an experience. The structure of these calls are complex because we require a huge effort on cooperation between large companies. There's always an OEM, and then suppliers and etc. So it's been a challenge, and thank you for sharing your experience. So Andres, you belong to one of the most relevant innovation centers in Spain, in Valencia, dedicated, as I said, to the agro-food sector. So could you share with all of us your experience in the PERTE of the agro-food sector?
Okay, thank you, Maria, for the introduction. Well, we consider our experience successful so far.
Is this sound okay for you?
No.
No. If you could maybe, or speak a little bit louder. No.
Can you hear?
Yeah. No.
No?
Maybe with that.
Can you hear now?
Better.
Better? Okay. So, which was our experience?
Yes.
Experience, we can say, it's been a successful experience so far, because we are one of the 13 tractor projects that have been supported in the provisional resolution of this Axis 1 of our PERTE agro-food. So I think INEA is happy with that. The companies that joined the group, the industrial group, are also happy. So maybe you're questioning why a research center or technology center is talking this. You mentioned it. We have a strong connection with the food industry. We have 750 company members, mainly from the food industry. So when the recovery funds appeared, we felt that we should lead a project to imagine to be one of the big tractor projects in Spain. So we started to work and to create a platform of industrial companies, mainly for the food industry, to step-by-step working. We were happy to be second after your PERTE because we were just how things were designed and constructed and a step-by-step progress. So our consortium is formed by 18 companies from 8 comunidades autónomas or Spanish regions. We have 7 major companies for the food sector, and also 11 SMEs, so some startups included. So 18 industries in total. So we have Vicky Foods as an industrial leader, which is a well-known bakery industry, and also we had to say that we made a good team with Deloitte, the consultancy companies, to take care of all the things behind the application. So the objective of the project was to help the sector to speed up in the green transformation by developing new food products and new food ingredients with a lower environmental footprint, and by using alternative raw materials. Like insects, algae, fungi, microorganisms, even cell-based meat. So a very innovative approach. We also work on innovative processes like 3D food printing, fermentation, advanced fermentation, or cellular agriculture. So innovative projects, innovative process helping food industries to change and grow in this green transformation. So our project went a little bit to the side of sustainability. You could choose between digitalization or green, and we were made for that. So then regarding the budget, it's a big project. It's a 36 million euros eligible budget, and an overall support of 19 million euros. So, it's as I said before, we wanted to be protagonists and to lead one of these big projects, and it is that we made it possible.
Thank you very much. Well, as you see, both PERTEs are very different in nature because the electric and connected vehicle is concentrated on this value chain specifically, but the AgroPERTE covers many different sectors, different types of projects. And what we require to the PERTEs is to have a high degree of innovation, of collaboration. You've seen many different companies, many different regions involved. And this contribution, as required by the recovery and resilience mechanism, we need to have this contribution to the twin transition, either sustainability, either digitalization. So these are the common elements that are inside every of these PERTEs. So thank you, Andres. And now, Jose, you are participating, PIMAR is participating in the Naval PERTE. So could you share with us your balance or the assessment that PIMAR can make of the PERTE up to now?
Thank you, Maria. Well, think of going back to that expression of interest you mentioned in your introduction. When this happens several years ago, we from PIMAR realized that this was the opportunity for the sector. This was the opportunity for the transformation of the sector, thinking not only in the shipyards, which of course, but also in all the value chain of the shipbuilding sector. We realized that the point was to face this transformation that the shipbuilding industry needed, by taking the industry as a whole, by taking into account the possibilities of diversification of the activities of the sim building sector here in Spain. So as you mentioned, PIMAR integrates the interests, they are our shareholders, so the Spanish private shipyards, our colleagues from Navantia, which are the public shipyards here in Spain, we comprise the whole, let's say, the whole industry here in Spain, the public and the private shipyards. So we all together, we're working in the project to face and to achieve this challenge that we were facing at that time. How did we see it? Okay, we need some pillars to work on and to face this transformation of the whole sector. First of all, the decarbonization of the sector, the environmental sustainability, not only of the product, which of course we need to work on better and more efficient engines, better and more efficient ways of vessels, because there is a lot of transport worldwide made through the vessels, but also to face the decarbonization of the process of shipbuilding. The process of shipbuilding implies a more efficient plants of production, more efficient factories, a more efficient, not only shipyard, but also more efficient factories in all the auxiliary industry of the sector. Secondly, the digitalization of the sector, which is very connected to the first one, because you can improve your efficiency, energetic efficiency, through the digitalization of your processes. So by making installments of some sensors to digitalize how you are processing all the contribution to the production of the vessel, how you are processing all the connections with the industry, with the auxiliary industry, was key to achieve this goal we were facing. And thirdly, having a point in the diversification of the activity through the renewable energies offshore. We are talking about offshore wind energies, we are talking about maremotric energies, where the shipyards has a huge synergies with these sectors. We can have what we call this big project as a country, where Spain can be a hub for this industry. We have the ports, we have the infrastructure, we have the developers, we have the technology, and also we have the shipyards to make it. So we can be the reference worldwide to this kind of industries, but we need to collaborate. So the spirit behind the PERTEs, which is the collaboration, the spirit of working together, to take advantage of these synergies, was what moved us to go for it. And in addition to these three big pillars, we also thought that we needed a transversal pillar, which was the capacitation, the way that the professionals can have all the qualities to face this from the technology point of view, because everything, as you mentioned, was based on the R&D developed of the industry. So we thought we needed, we worked on how to design the project in order to face all these pillars that we were talking about. And our aim and the big challenge of this project was to go to all the chain of value of the industry. Because sometimes when we are talking about big enterprises, big companies, international companies, they have the R&D departments, they have the human resources department. It's more or less easy. But when you are talking about small companies, small and medium companies, they are focused on the production. It's very difficult for them to face this kind of difficult projects. You have to take into account a lot of requirements. You have to take into account the collaboration with a lot of companies, which is not always easy. So companies like PIMAR, because we are working on the PERTE, but we are not beneficiaries of the PERTE. We are the coordinators, the promoter. We are boosting the project together with Navantia in order to get the projects. And I think it was key in order to get the achievement of this ambitious project that we think we are working on.
Okay, thank you very much, Jose. We have here a question from the public, and I would address it to you because it's about the automotive sector. It says, microelectronics are key in making electric vehicles a reality. To what extent does PERTE address semiconductors, microelectronics as building blocks?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say that there are two responses for that. So first of all, as you mentioned at the beginning, there was a dedicated PERTE for microelectronics and semiconductor.
Microelectronics, yes.
That's true, but we also believe that it was key for us to introduce not specifically semiconductor projects, let's say, but everything that is around. I will give you an example. So, in this part of the transformation of the automotive industry, you need new profiles as data scientists, experts in artificial intelligence, telecommunications engineers that 10 years ago were mainly focused on mechanical engineers. So that huge transformation, it requires, I mean, to adapt, let's say, the industry and to move to this kind of activities. So we haven't created a specific project related with that. It was not mandatory, but we have projects in which we are including computer science, of course, computer vision, data recording, quantum computing. So a lot of new capabilities that we believe the sector will need in the coming 2-3 years. So that's the reason we are trying to push as much as we can the ecosystem. I'm coming back to the question before, because there are plenty of SMEs in Spain, but it's true that probably not at the level that we require from the automotive sector. So we need a strong SMEs to come with us and to work together. So we take advantage of this PERTE to also include these companies and to develop these companies. So no specifically focus to microelectronics, because there are not, I mean, those kind of companies, or not so much, but all of them around these components. So that's how we involve these microelectronics in our PERTE.
Okay, thank you, Vicente. Well, we yesterday we had the National Congress Monday and Tuesday, the National Congress of Industry and SMEs, and we had a roundtable on this PERTE of microelectronics. It's very complementary with the electric and connected vehicle PERTE, as they are one of the main customers that will buy semiconductors. Yeah. And the aim of PERTE chip is to develop the value chain. It's a very specific business because we were speaking about strategic autonomy, and one of the experts said that it's not possible to develop autonomy in this sector because we will have to share the value chain, or to build the value chain between probably Europe and United States, for instance. So we are working in Spain to develop this sector as well, because we need it for the development of many other industries, in particular the automotive industry. We have identified around 250 companies. We thought that we should have, they said, well, we thought we would have like 10, but then we found 250, from startups to big companies. 70 are already associated to a new association specifically set up for this sector, created in 2021. So, well, we are working on it, as many other member states and, well, countries around the world. So, well, thank you for your answer. Andres, going back to the agro-food PERTE, could you mention some positive aspects that you could highlight from your point of view or experience in this instrument?
Yeah, I could mention.
Sí.
I would mention the good cooperation. I was surprised to see so many companies, big companies, small companies, from different parts of the value chains working together. We have a lot of meetings. I think we counted like more than 30 meetings before we submitted the proposal. And in those meetings were big, so there was so many companies coming up with very nice ideas, innovative ideas, and I was a bit surprised because I was a bit not really sure that things could work, but yeah, they really found opportunities to work together, to join efforts to develop research, development, or innovation projects. Actually, our 22 primary projects, so the tractor projects are structured in primary projects, and I think 22 or 20, I think there is only one individual project. The others are in cooperation. So it's been very cooperative, and I think this is good for the industry. Makes our food industry stronger. So to achieve that cooperation, and I think of course in many projects you find cooperation, but maybe 3 or 4 companies. But talking about 18 companies working together in so many cooperative projects, this is something new that brought this PERTE approach, and I consider it quite positive. And then regarding the cooperation with the public sector, I only have good words for the technicians for the main couture, because the Ministry of Industry, because during this process that lasted 2 years and a half, it was so long trip. Yeah. It's been very supportive. They've been always answering the questions and supporting us. So I think for that side, for the public support, for running the cooperation between all these companies plus technology centers like us, I think this partnership, public-private, it's been very positive, and for me probably the best thing or the best comment. Of course, there are many other things, positive things. I would just highlight that one.
Thank you very much. So cooperation between companies, administrations, innovation centers. So it's good to hear that we can draw some lessons learned and positive results. So for Jose, under the PERTE Naval, what are the upcoming challenges in your case, and what actions have you foreseen to overcome these challenges? PERTEs are not easy to manage. There are big consortia, a lot of projects involved, and managing these projects is really a challenge itself.
It is. It has been, and it will be for sure, because we are just starting. Well, first of all, I would highlight the mere fact of having had a PERTE for the shipbuilding sector, because we all know that tourism is very important here in Spain, that industries like the car industry are very relevant, but not everybody knows that the shipbuilding industry here in Spain is very relevant worldwide. We are a top country in shipbuilding sector, particularly in those niche of market of high value-added vessels, such as aquaculture vessels, offshore vessels, oceanographic vessels. We are on the top worldwide in the European Union. We are the first, the second country in shipbuilding of this kind of sector. So knowing this in Spain, that there is the acknowledgement of the shipbuilding sector as a strategic industry sector, I think it is important for the people to know that there is a source of employment, there is a source of economic growth, there is a source of proud for us to have this acknowledged in the world. I would say that was important, and I would also say that the challenge is putting together competitors between themselves, being able of looking for the common interests and being able to manage all of them to go in one direction altogether. Our tractor project, our flagship project, is composed by 95 companies in 47 primary projects. So it was not easy to make a coherent, let's say, structure for all of them, to put all of them working together in common project, making synergies from all of them, as I was explaining before. The synergies, for example, with the renewable energies sector were very important to put it there. Sometimes they even don't know each other, where they are, where they can go. So this was the first important challenge we had once we had this PERTE Naval. Having learned from previous experiences, like our colleagues from the electric vehicle, we knew that one of the most important difficulties in the process are the guarantees. For small and medium-sized companies which need to go for a guarantee in order to receive the subsidy, is very challenging sometimes. we in PIMAR, we had the expertise of having funds for the shipbuilding processes. So we thought, okay, if we can do it for the shipbuilding, why not for the PERTE? So we created this tool. We created a fund specific dedicated to help the banks, to help the credit entities to provide these warranties for the companies who are participating in the PERTE Naval. So we can help them with this, let's say, with this requirement, which is, of course, is natural in this context where the subsidy is upfront, but with the purpose of saying, okay, if you have the project, if you have been able to build a project, let's try that the economics, let's try that the financing is not the problem. So this is where we are putting our efforts now, looking forward to the next steps and hoping that the next requirements can be achieved.
Yeah, thank you, Jose. We have a comment online saying that 95 companies in a single project is crazy.
Yes, it is.
So you confirm it is.
It is, because it's not only putting all of them together, like whatever you want, is being able to coordinate, as I said, is being able to coordinate in a coherent way all the projects, because sometimes, well, you need to comply with the requirements of the flagship project. You need to have some projects here, some others there. You need the collaboration, you need the synergies. Sometimes they are competitors, so it's very tricky. I mean, we have the expertise. So in my board of directors, I have 22 directors. They are competitors between themselves, and I have to manage all the information. And this is my expertise, and this is I have that knowledge, and I know how to handle it. And I think people have trusted. We demonstrated in the past that we were able to do that, and now so far we are doing it. I mean, we are ambitious. We need more, but I think it has been an achievement.
Thank you. We have another comment here that says that in theory, PERTE is configured as an interesting tool to dynamize sectors, but previous requirements and administrative issues are a barrier for SMEs and even for large companies as well. So, well, I think that we all agree.
Yes.
In our experience as managing authority of European funds, managing European funds is never easy. We have to fulfill requirements at European level and then national requirements. We have for example, the recovery and resilience mechanism regulation. We have our national law, the state aid law, the public contract law. So many requirements, very difficult, it's true, to simplify. But for example, in the second edition of the PERTE, the electric and connected vehicle, we've tried to remove some of the administrative barriers, reducing the requirements, for example, for cooperation. This was something that is quite difficult to articulate. So we reduced the requirements for this, but you lose a little bit the main focus of PERTES to be like a more holistic project and more integrated. So it's a trade-off. We had to remove this. We had to reduce also guarantees required and reduce the requirement of the share of SMEs participating in the projects that initially there was a threshold. So it's true that when you simplify, you leave things out, you have to choose, and now, well, after the experience, we have the two models, and we've tried to streamline it a little bit. But I don't know if you have the same view, no, as this participant, that administrative issues is, I suppose that for all of you, if you are managing funds, either European or national, it's an issue.
Yeah, well, if I can comment on that, so yeah. I would say two things. So first, we have already mentioned the complexity of the call. I just something that came to my mind. I have a colleague that he used as a KPI for all the funded projects. Okay, how many emails we sent
How
to
many
create.
emails?
You need to create. So he couldn't keep counting for the PERTE one.
number
It was
of
impossible
emails.
to count that. Having said that, for me there was something interesting in the first call. It's true that it was complex. Okay, we were able to manage to include 7% of SMEs in the consortium, but it was also great in the internal discussions that we, let's say, opened the focus when we discuss. So we, of course, call the usual suspects in the automotive sector. We have plenty of tier ones in Spain that help us a lot, big companies. Of course, they must and they should be involved on our PERTE, but it also gives us the opportunity to include other companies that probably normally, if you focus on a regular project, you don't consider these new opportunities of studying digitalization. I will give an example. For example, related to connectivity, there is new regulation coming in 3 years, okay? And we wanted to explore things. Probably without the PERTE, we didn't have we didn't take the risk to explore that, and we did it thanks to the cooperation with SMIs, and we are trying to explore these opportunities there. So related with the electric and connected vehicle PERTE, I think the mix between the both opportunities, I think it's great. First one, to develop the ecosystem, and the second one probably to more focused projects and reducing the complexity in terms of emails and, and creation of the project, yeah.
Yes, that's something that I don't know if anyone here has a solution or a key to reduce administrative burden in terms of, well, for SMEs in particular. Your experience is similar, right?
I mean, in the agri-food PERTE, there were different areas. So I think SMEs has easier access to funds in Axis 2 and 3 with the specific programs. Our experience was in Axis 1 about tractor projects, and because of the nature of these projects, it's a big projects with large companies and so on and so on. It's true that maybe in terms of number of SMEs participating in these tractor projects, so there was a limited access to funds. I think it was so complex. I mean, I've been many years designing all type of projects, but I think that was the mother of all the battles. I mean, it was so complex. So the good thing is that we learned. We all learned. It was a challenge for everyone, for the public sector and for us. And now we learn. We hope that next year there will be a new call, and we could really convey more funds to more companies. They're waiting for that. So I can say that there were a lot of interest to join next call.
Yes, we thank you. There's another question here. Individual projects can be submitted in the new calls. Would you recommend it to future applicants? Well, we cannot recommend one model or the other. Now, both options are open. If the project is simple, it's clear, it fulfills the requirement, then you can go for an individual one. If you have the ambition, as well, Vicente has explained, and you want really to set up a project with cooperation and with a different value or added value in terms of the contribution to the ecosystem, I suppose it has advantages. Or as Jose mentioned, no? Because you've seen the benefits of cooperation.
Yeah, I think that, of course, let's say the quantitative value of the PERTE is important because any help is very welcome. But I would say that the qualitative impact of the PERTE is even higher. This new way of working, putting all together in common projects, is something that it was very difficult in the past, and this was like a necessity. I mean, we need to work all together if we need to get advantage of this opportunity. And this is something that never happened before, and it has changed some mentalities in some ways. So I think it's of course, always the first time is always complex, more complex than after that. But I think this can be the beginning to a new way of working in the future.
Yeah, so maybe they had other kind of instruments, the shipyard sector they could apply to with individual projects.
Yes,
so if PERTE Naval wouldn't have existed, you wouldn't have set up this structure?
Yes, we will have let's say, ordinary tools, but not this very new tool to face these opportunities. As we said before, we couldn't have been able to go for this diversification of activity with the renewables energy, for example, because it would have been so long or so far away from our possibilities that it would have been impossible. I think this was the opportunity, and we have achieved to have some projects with developers of new maremotric energies, with, of course, offshore wind projects, and let's hope that in the next few years we will be able to say this was very worth it, because we will be able to do that.
Thank you. Well, there's another question here on another PERTE decarb. This PERTE is one of the relevant ones, together with these three that we are working on from the Ministry of Industry. It's very ambitious as well, because it aims at reducing dependency on fossil fuels. It also has the objective of decarbonizing industrial projects, and also promoting projects around carbon capture, CO2 capture, and reducing emissions. This PERTE is foreseen to, we foresee to launch a first call in this second semester of around 500 plus 500 million euros in grants and loans, and it will be launched by the ministry in the coming months. There's a lot of expectation as well around this PERTE. It's very cross-cutting, because you've seen that now for the industrial sector is a must to analyze the energy sources that we are using, reducing dependencies, and also try to decarbonize the industrial projects as well as the product's footprint, etc. So it's a cross-cutting PERTE, and we are planning to launch in the coming months the first goal, and then continue in the next years, even beyond 2026, because there's a lot of demand of projects in this PERTE. So another question that we have is around IPCIs as an instrument of industrial policy, and its comparison with PERTEs, as we have followed the model. They're too bureaucratic, they say, but feedback on PERTE, positive difference, well, we have already mentioned some of them, right?
Yeah.
Cooperation?
For me especially, it's cooperation and overall this possibility of opening the focus. For me, that's key, and it's also difficult for traditional companies or traditional sectors, like the automotive one, but everybody understands the transformation that we are suffering right now, and we really need to open that focus. So from a point of view, that the PERTE BEC helps a lot on that.
And I have another question for you, Vicente. How to prepare for the future and the transition from hybrids to more electrified vehicles? Because your sector is under a huge revolution now, and what can you tell us?
Yeah, well,
that's
part of the transformation right now. So how Renault is structured this transformation is right now all the electric production is in the north of France, and all the hybrid vehicles are produced in Spain, right? So that's all the hybrid vehicles are produced here in Spain. So we have been focused the last 2 years, probably, okay, in turning Spain into the e-tech, that what how we call our hybrid technology, be the center for Renault for this technology. And that includes not only our factory, but also our research and development center that we have in Valladolid city, with more than 1,000 engineers, right? That are supporting the works in our factory and creating, let's say, the new features or the new capabilities in our vehicles. So that's something that we are, let's say, transforming today. We started with this hybrid work right now. We are moving to our more electrified vehicles, okay, and we are expecting the full transformation by the end of the decade. So it's something that It can sounds like a lot of time, okay, but for the automotive sector, it's really reduced time for moving toward this transformation. So we are now trying to push in that direction.
Okay, so we are almost arriving to the end of the panel, so I would ask you, Andres and Jose, to just a few words on the main challenges of your respective sectors that you have to address in the coming months or years, but that are almost here. For the agri-food sector, what's your opinion?
Well, I think we tackle the future of food. So when I said microalgae, fungi, insects, and so on, I saw some people smiling here. But I can tell you, everyone in the world are researching and doing innovation on this field. So I think at the end of the day, we want a stronger and very competitive industry. And I think these kind of projects really help to achieve it.
Thank you. So very innovative indeed. And Jose,
to summarize a little bit.
To summarize this sector that is very surprising, not so well known, as you said, what would you conclude?
Yeah, first of all, taking into account the stage of the process, we are waiting for the definitive resolution. We had the provisional resolution a couple of weeks ago. We submitted our allegations last week, so we are waiting, very hoping that that all the projects can be developed. That's our first goal. Second goal, as I said before, is to be able to achieve that the financing is not a problem for the companies to go ahead with all the projects. And thirdly, as I always say, we are starting right now. This is just the starting point to develop the projects. So we have the 2 next years to carry out all the necessary things to achieve what we projected 2 years ago, and to make this new way of working in collaboration with all the chain of value of the industry.
Thank you very much. Well, we couldn't address all the questions, but at least many of them. I have to thank our participants in this roundtable. I would summarize that PERTEs have been a new implementing mechanism that has allowed for more collaboration in the sectors that require bigger effort, maybe, and a leading company that needs to organize these consortia to be able to implement the projects properly. But they are addressing very relevant challenges in their respective sectors, relevant for the future of Spain and for the future of Europe. So, congratulations for the effort up to now. Now you have to implement the projects, and then we will see the results. So thank you very much for sharing with us this panel, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.